Sometimes in what I do, I have to give bad news. For some time now, myself and other third worldists have been very concerned about the Communist Party of the Philippines. We've been noticing some things that are just not right, things that are very anti-Marxist. To put it shortly, to put it quickly and painlessly as possible, the Philippine Revolution is very likely over. Now, I wouldn't say something like that if I didn't have a significant reason for saying so. Now, for some time, the New People's Army has been significantly decreasing in support. Their numbers have shrunk dramatically, and there's sufficient good sources to confirm that that's actually true. That their organization may be down to about 2,000 actual fighters, where it was many thousands more. The NPA claims it's more around 6,000, but new information that's come out, it seems like it's more likely around 2,000. Its power in the countryside is shrinking. And one of the reasons this is happening is because they're not recognizing that the countryside itself is shrinking. The CPP has held the traditional Maoist view of the countryside, in all power to the countryside to eventually encircle the cities and conquer them. The problem is that there's been a huge urbanization process across the world the last couple of decades. And what this means is that a lot of those people who were once peasants have been driven off their land and into the cities, into the slums, the shanty towns. The Communist Party of the Philippines still stands by saying that 70% of the population is in the countryside, whereas official government statistics show that 60% of the country's population live inside of slums. Now, this is only one example. What has also been happening is that the number of attacks that the NPA carries out against the government of the Philippines has been drastically shrinking. A lot of their actual violent activity is now extortion against businesses, which I'm not opposed to, and I don't think anybody should be opposed to. But this should not be the majority of what they do. I mean, you got to raise money, you got to raise money. That's cool, I understand that. But it's now coming to a point where that's all they're doing. The amount of actual attacks carried out against the government are shrinking to a level where, you know, they're just not really significant anymore. And again, I wouldn't be saying this if I didn't think there was this significant information to back it up. There's a wealth of information in the description. Now, those of you who watch me on Facebook and Twitter know that I previously said that I had some bad news to give, and that after that I showed a post that definitely shows that the CPP is failing. Now, the reason this is happening is that Jose Sision, who is the head of the Communist Party of the Philippines, the one who's living in exile, has begun a program of what is essentially surrendering. He rightfully notices that the revolutionary struggle in the Philippines is stagnating very much, and it's on the verge of just complete collapse. This is why the government of the Philippines is not interested in carrying out any negotiations with them anymore, because they too know that the whole movement is failing. Now, in lieu of that coming failure, or as that failure is coming, Jose Sision has taken to allying with some very questionable people. Roberto Duterte. Now, he is the mayor of, I believe it's Davao City. He is very openly a third positionist and takes some very, very reactionary positions, like using death squads against drug addicts and other undesirables. Not all unlike the government of Colombia against people in its own country. And the CPP, particularly Jose Sision, has been buddying up to the guy for a while now. He's been saying good things about him, making overtures of peace towards him, because he has now decided to run for the presidency of the Philippines. Now, the two of them have just recently announced an alliance together. That means the Communist Party of the Philippines is now openly in collaboration with a third positionist candidate, one that holds some extremely reactionary positions. And this does not go very well. Duterte has been allied in the past with former members of the Marcos dictatorship, which a big thing the NPA was doing was actually fighting that dictatorship. And it's very bad to see this coming. And everything I'm saying is true and can be verified. Jose Sision has made many public statements in favor of allying with Duterte, and particularly if he runs for president. And if he wins, they basically said they're going to carry out a ceasefire if Duterte wins and allow the NPA to engage in electoral politics. And I think if we've learned anything from the past, engaging in bourgeois electoral politics does not bring revolution. But at this point, Sison sees that there's no point in continuing with an actual revolution because it's stagnating and it's on the verge of defeat. And again, I wouldn't be saying that if I didn't think that it was true. And I wouldn't be saying that if I didn't have, a sufficient amount of evidence to back that up. Even the Philippine government is acknowledging that. They're not saying it publicly, but they are acknowledging it. This is some information that's come out from WikiLeaks cables. Stuff that was never intended to be made public. They believe very much that the NPA is on the verge of death. And what this shows is that the theory, the stagnant theory that the CPP has been using for decades is truly beginning to fail on them. They essentially haven't changed their line since their movement began back in the 60s. It remains the same today, as I gave the previous example of the countryside versus the people living in the slums. And this is bad news I really don't want to bring. I'm not happy about this. This is bad, because it was the NPA was one of the main forces that actually encouraged me, that it got me into Maoism. It was their spirit, their fighting, their whole image and everything that really got me into Maoism to start investigating it. And now we have this very unfortunate reality in front of us. I encourage everyone watching this video to research it. Don't just go to the links that I have in the description. Check it out for yourself, investigate it, research, and you'll find the answers there. But I do come with a heavy heart to give you this bad news. And one of the problems is Maoists aren't acknowledging it. Maoist groups are just pretending that this isn't happening. Even though the CPP is openly allying with a third positionist, they're just pretending it isn't happening. And that speaks very much to the state of Marxist theory today, or the state of Marxist groups in the world right now. So again, I highly recommend that everybody research this as much as possible. Don't just take my word for it. Go out there and learn for yourself. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of them, then head over to my Patreon page and show your support. Or you can go to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share on various social media.